Hello and welcome to Connect. I'm your host, Randy Shabilo. On today's show, we'll have Frederick Bodnarus and Terri Paterson talking about the auction world, as well as City Manager Jeff Jorgensen talking about the Housing Accelerator Fund. And as always, we'd like to connect with you. Follow us on Facebook at ConnectYXE, catch past interviews on YouTube, email us at connectyxe@gmail.com, or leave a message at 306-665-3796. Auctioneering has been around for a long time, and the past couple of years there's been a few changes. We have Frederick Bodnarus from Bodnarus Auctions here today to talk a little bit and give us some background, I guess, if you will, on what's happened, but some exciting things for the future. Thank you both for coming down, Frederick and Terri.
Well, thank you, Randy. It's great to be here. Yes, auctions have really changed. I started auctioneering in '97, started Bodnarus in 2007, and when I first started, everything was written on tickets back then, and went back to the auction trailers, and then we started incorporating computers in 2009 and internet bidding in 2011, and then we kind of started the virtual auction, you might say, in 2017, where I'd be selling from a room like this to the world as a crowd. And then things just really grew onto the app. And now we've got 11,000 square foot warehouse and probably selling 2,000 to 4,000 lots a week.
That's significant, and I commend you for kind of morphing into the personal sale, if you will, on site, which I'd imagine is kind of falling out of favor. We're almost always looking at the app for an auction today.
Yes, yeah, the app is definitely there for convenience. People can bid from anywhere at any time, and basically any information they want is on the app.
So maybe Terri, tell us a little bit about what you're experiencing and hearing from people who might have property, because this is a new venture for this auctioneering world where it's almost like one phone call can take care of everything.
Well, and that's what happened, is being in the auction industry, it's a really good solution or option for people when they're having to downsize or dealing with estates. And so we've been getting a lot of phone calls asking if we could deal with their contents and sell their belongings because they needed to list their house. And so we've just recently become licensed real estate agents ourselves under the EXP brokerage. We call ourselves Team Bodnarus. There's Frederick and I, and we have another fellow, Zach Smith, working all together. And we've been very fortunate in being able to provide a service that doesn't seem to be available to most real estate agents, because we're able to sell all their contents and be able to provide more of a one-stop shop for them. We were dealing with just a couple of weeks ago, a fellow, his mother passed away unfortunately, and he didn't live here, he actually lived in BC. So he actually contacted Frederick, and we were able to provide him with service as far as selling his contents, helping out to some of those different services that he would need to contact, and did some of the work ourselves so that we were able to get his house listed, get him a good price, and all he had to do was take what he wanted, any of that significant things that might have some sentimental value, and then hand over the keys and wait for his check to come.
I can speak from my previous profession as a funeral director that we always had a lot of stress added to, in that particular case, a death. This must be a relief for many people who may not live here, and even those that do live here, every day going back to the apartment or condo or house to gather everything. Do you look at bringing everything in-house, or do you sell it on site? How does that typically work?
Well, it all depends on what they have for content. Sometimes families come in and there's certain things that are, set aside for certain members of the family. Because we do have that additional warehouse space now, we are able to take a lot of the small things right to the warehouse. But if there's bigger product, it might make more sense for those bigger items to stay right at the property. Yeah. We have staff that can go out to the properties. They can lot everything right there. We set up pickup dates as well, which a lot of auction companies don't do. So we're able to help them at the back end as well in making sure that everything gets dispersed to the right bidders and winners. And so it's just making a lot of sense to a lot of people.
So, Frederick, as you started your business, you would typically be on site, farm or private sale of a home and so on, selling those belongings. Have you noticed any changes happening since the post-COVID world? Are we looking at everyone just kind of leaving? You mentioned, Terri, taking things that are the family heirlooms. Do you see people just kind of saying, you know what, I have to get back to work. It's another day of travel. Does that kind of play into the people that you're dealing with in Saskatoon?
Yeah, for sure it does, Randy. And the big thing is a lot of the people, they don't have the time. So, you know, and now
They have a garage
and
sale
now
or
they're
something,
going
yeah.
straight to the online. Like
Yeah.
before, if it was live, there had to be a certain amount of product there to make it make sense, to go out there live, to draw an audience, to draw a crowd. And now even if it's a condo, we could still do it because those items will be mixed in with one of our regular sales. And we don't need to have enough stuff there to make an auction to draw a crowd for people to go there and see it. You know, we can now transport that to our warehouse, and we just have a lot more flexibility. And I think the general public has kind of caught on to that now because, you know, they're not asking you to come out to their place and do it. Like, you know, some of the farm equipment, we could definitely go out there and do videos and stuff like that. But even that, now a lot of people really like that convenience. They're not being, you know, bombarded by a big crowd. They're able to do everything, and everything's done in an orderly fashion now.
So you're not giving up a day of work or time away from your business or farm, whatever it is that you're
Right.
out to shop for or bid on. You can put in advance bidding, I take it?
Yes, yeah, they can put in advance bidding, they can put in their max bids, which means the computer will bid on their behalf up to the amount that they've allotted. So if they bid on it and they get a little cheaper, they'll get it cheaper. Or if it's going to go over, it'll notify them that they've been outbid.
So there's
So
still
they
a
have an
chance
opportunity to bid again.
to
Yeah.
stay in the game.
Yeah.
What do you see happening? Is it mostly your market, mostly in Saskatoon? So is the real estate perhaps in the city only, or do you go to smaller towns around Saskatoon, Terri?
Certainly. We're licensed in all of Saskatchewan.
Oh.
So we do, of course, service Saskatoon, Warman, Martensville, Osler, Newhorst. Got a client yesterday. So all of those areas, and with the XP2, there's agents across the province so that if we aren't able to, we can certainly provide a referral to another agent in their area. But
So it's very comprehensive, I guess. It's not just married to the boundaries of Saskatoon and maybe a couple miles outside. Do you see some trends in terms of what people are willing to divest themselves of with items in the homes, or has a new generation kind of shied away and said, you know what, everything that I've been looking at for 40 or 50, 60 years, I don't want to see anymore? Is there some things that you might see, that hockey cards or personal things like that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think people are getting less attached to their stuff, for sure. It meant a lot, you know, maybe to their parents or grandparents, and then, you know, they have a different thing that they're collecting, you know, so they're definitely not as attached, and they definitely want the stuff gone. And they just, if you're able to provide the service for them, they're a lot more willing to listen. And a lot of them will reach out for one aspect, and they're like, wow, I didn't know that you guys provided all that too. Well, if that's the case, let's just go ahead and get it done.
So I guess if we look at the profession of auctioneering, do you do that online or for training, or where would you go for schooling in your case with what you've accomplished?
Well, in for schooling, there's still quite a few auction schools in the States. There's not nearly as many in Canada anymore. And pretty much the only live auctioneering left is livestock, which, you know, I've sold livestock for 27 years, and I'm going to be retiring out of that after 27 years. So that's pretty much the only thing left for live auctioneering. And anything that's done through auctions, it's not really done to the crowd anymore, like they'll be selling to a computer screen. Really, the collector car business, is probably one of the only things where they'll have an event once or twice a year where it's online as well as a live crowd.
So it's a specialty type.
Specialty type.
There we
yeah.
go. Yeah. So you've won an award or 2 or 3 over the years. Tell us about your success there.
Well, I started competing at a very young age and had done a lot of provincial and Western Canada type contests, a few American contests. Was fortunate enough to win the all-around Canadian contest in 2023.
Wow.
And I participated in the livestock contests for probably about 20 years. I never officially won that contest, but I was in the top 10, 15 times. So it's something I really, really enjoy. I really enjoy the bid call. But times are changing and you got to change with them.
Do you see the livestock end of it, any movement away from the personal on-site presence of purchasers and animals, or are we moving entirely to video and app type use?
In the livestock sector, there's been a 36% increase in online sales for livestock. That being said, I think there's definitely, bigger groups of cattle, more semi-load lots that can be sold online. A lot of the bull sales are live as well as online. So I think, and then there's the cull cow market and bull market and stuff, which I think will always be live. So I think you're going to see a bit of a trend going more towards the online, but it's not going to be to the degree that what we've seen in personal property, farm equipment, just because cattle is a live commodity, right?
So you're representing a lot of history and on the verge of change to the future and technology. Terri, if people wanted to reach out to you and find out more about what you do and can do, how would they reach you?
Absolutely. Well, we're located at 2342 Hanselman Avenue. It's just on the corner going towards the airport. So you're more than welcome to drop in there anytime. Our number is 306-227-9505 to reach Frederick, myself, 306-914-5000. And our website is bodnarusauctioneering.ca, and you can reach us there.
I want to thank you both for making time to come to the studio, and thank you for taking us to the new age of auctioneering and sales.
Thank you for having us, Randy. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Randy.
Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.